Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 16th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see the Pacific Northwest here, and if you look out across the Pacific Ocean, we've got a fairly robust jet stream pointed at the west coast of North America, which means we have additional systems on the way here as we go through the weekend and on into early next week, and maybe even potentially off into the future. We'll take a look at that in some of the extended forecasts here as well. Looking at lightning strikes over the last 24 hours, not much to speak of across BC, Washington, Oregon. In fact, nothing to speak of. And you can see the lightning across some eastern Idaho and southwest Montana, portions of Wyoming. That may be changing here over the next couple of days, though. And if you want your own weather station that detects lightning, and it can even go over 25 miles, I've seen it do so. But yeah, very fun weather station. Does a lot more. Stores a lot of data for you in the cloud. Click on the link down below to save 10% off. Highly recommended. Looking at things right now, you can see we do have some rain flying for southwest BC, some of Vancouver Island. Look at Quileute and Hoquiam. It is raining. Look at that, 45 degrees in Spokane and rain falling. Kind of chilly out there. And if we look out across, looks at Glacier, it's only 42 degrees, and there's some light rain falling there as well. So feeling more like late winter versus the late spring that we are currently in actually here. So yeah, we'll be dealing with these systems over the next few days as well. And if you want to go ahead and send me your weather images, you can do so on the Patreon page. Go to the community tab there and you can send me whatever you like. So yeah, or you can support the page on the Patreon page here as well. So looking at the Storm Prediction Center, you can see the thunderstorm activity across some portions of southeast Oregon today and portions of western Montana and Idaho. So just going to keep that in the back of your mind. As we go to day 2, we start to increase that thunderstorm potential. And we've got some convergent zone activity here tomorrow as well across some of the central Puget Sound. I'll show you some of that here in a moment. So we can't rule out lightning in some of those areas as well. Now, day 3, this system is pushing off to the east, and I will be out chasing this across the plains, but I will take my show on the road, and hopefully I will be doing those daily briefings when I'm on the road. Some interesting weather across portions of Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and maybe down towards Texas, and maybe even back up into Colorado. I haven't decided exactly where I'm chasing yet. However, now looking at lightning flash density potential. So as we go through the day today, you can kind of see some of that higher terrain stuff there for British Columbia. We go through Saturday, notice some of that showing up in some of the convergent zone there, and you start to increase those chances as you get across the higher terrain or eastern British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, as you can see. And then we go on in through Sunday, kind of clipping northeast Washington again there as well. And then we go Monday and Tuesday, looking to see what else this is showing. Not too strong of a signal at this time, but we're kind of watching the central Puget Sound here, and I'm going to show you that here in a moment. Now, look at the European model. So taking a look at the Gulf of Alaska view, there is our system as we go through this week, and kind of a double-barreled trough moving through here, keeping things fairly active, and some fairly wet days coming up here, especially for considering that we are in the second half of May now. And then we scroll off in towards this week. You see the troughing is still around, the lowered heights there across portions of western Canada. The onshore flow will continue. We're not going to allow things to warm up. Another system tries to swing through midweek. We'll see what that one ends up doing. But yeah, you can kind of see onshore flow, no big ridge right now, and keeping things below normal temperature-wise and above normal precipitation-wise through some of the extended forecasts. So if we take a look at the European model here, put this into motion as we go through the day today, we start to pick up some of the amounts as we go through the night tonight for western Washington, western Oregon. You see some of this precipitation continuing on for a lot of the day on in through Saturdays. This trough is moving through, and then we can kind of see that convergence zone signature even on this global model that known as the European. And we go through Sunday, still some precipitation. The trough is still around. Then we bring another frontal system in here on the day Monday, another decent precipitation maker it looks like for many areas. And then again, we kind of continue that trough as we go through midweek, and then another system trying to slide through here as we go to Wednesday into Thursday, and we'll be breaking those systems down day by day as we get closer as well. Now, looking at composite reflectivity, so this is what we can expect today. Some places are going to be somewhat dry, but that precipitation will be increasing, especially as you go on in through tomorrow morning. And you can kind of see the spin in the atmosphere there pushing across Idaho. It remains across Pacific Northwest with, again, some of this convergent zone activity on Saturday afternoon could be kind of interesting here across the central sound. Can't rule out a thunderstorm with that and some heavier rainfall amounts. And you can kind of see this low spinning with us all the way on in through Sunday before that finally starts to kick off. But then we've got another system rolling in as we go through the day Monday. So taking a look here a bit closer, composite reflectivity, you can kind of see, you might even get a little bit of a dry period here for today for some of the Willamette Valley, Western Washington. The showers eventually start to roll in here as we go through the night tonight. Here we go just into early tomorrow morning. Precipitation picks up, and we're going to scroll off in through tomorrow afternoon, and you can kind of see this convergent zone here bouncing around the central sound. I'm going to toggle back and forth. You can kind of see this starting off there just afternoon and kind of hanging on through the afternoon and evening hours, bouncing around. Then you see that flow turns northwesterly there as that system starts to move through. Now, looking at 80-meter wind speeds here. So what I want to concentrate on here is as we go through the day Saturday, you'll see that westerly surge start to come through the Strait of Juan de Fuca, some of the Chehalis Gap there as well. And that's what's going to bring that convergent zone activity here on the day Saturday across the central Puget Sound. That's why those heavier precipitation amounts have been showing up. Probably the strongest point of the westerly surge is coming down through the Strait of Juan de Fuca and hitting Whidbey Island as we go on into Saturday evening. Some gusty winds down the east slopes of the Cascades as we go across Washington, Oregon, off into southeast Oregon there as well, and kind of see some of those blustery conditions continue on in through Sunday morning. Now, total precipitation in inches. I'll scroll through here and just kind of meander through this forecast. You can kind of see Seattle, look at that, up over 0.3 of an inch by the time you get towards Saturday morning, with more to come on the day Saturday, again, depending on exactly where that convergent zone activity sets up. You can see Bellingham getting up towards an inch by the time you get towards Saturday night as well. We go on into Sunday morning, and you can see additional rounds of precipitation there continuing. Then we deal with Monday's system. So yeah, we got a fairly wet period here coming up, relatively speaking. And we go all the way on in through Wednesday night here. See Seattle close to 0.9 of an inch. Same thing for Portland and Bellingham. I mean, 1.76 showing up. Some of the Southwest BC getting some pretty robust amounts. The Olympics, Vancouver Island, and some of the Oregon, Washington Cascades, again, picking up over 2 inches, and even a little bit of rainfall to be had across some of the Columbia Basin. And of course, the higher terrain in Northeast Washington, Northeast Oregon tend to do a better precipitation wise, generally speaking. Now, looking at Seattle, Tacoma here, this is 24-hour running totals, and this is all 50 European Ensemble members. You can kind of see how these individual Ensemble members have different totals. One of them, you know, the extreme value here at 1.3 in a 24-hour period, and some of the lower ones have about 0.4 of an inch or so. But of course, the Ensemble mean is somewhere in between, about 0.6 of an inch. The control run had close to 0.75 of an inch of precipitation in that 24-hour period. Then you can see this is Monday's system right there, and then we'll worry about what comes after that later. This is also another way to look at that. There are 50 of these gray lines. Those are the individual Ensemble members. The green line is the mean of those Ensemble members, and this is the blue line. That's the control run, the initial conditions, best we understand them. So you can also look off into the forecast and do temperature if you want. So again, there's all 50 European Ensemble members. There's a control run at the bottom, and you can see these temperatures are suppressed as we go through next week. But then it starts to, diverge, and some of the models want to keep things cooler. Some of them want to bring a trough in. Some of them want to bring a ridge, and you can see some of these Ensemble members start to warm up. Maybe some temperatures into the 70s there, at least briefly, and we'll see how that happens. We'll see, what's going to go on here. You don't want to put too much stock in the forecast all the way out towards May 24th and 25th just yet. It's still just May 16th. So taking a look at total snow-Kuchera ratio, also with that convergence zone activity, you're talking about some heavier snowfall amounts across some of the central Puget Sound, not central Puget Sound, but the central Cascades here. The convergence zone will stretch back across the central Puget Sound. But you can see between Stevenson and Snoqualmie Pass, there's a lot of good hiking out there, a lot of trails. I know a lot of people off in the backcountry this time of year, but watch out because it is showing some heavier snowfall amounts. Models continue to show 6+ inches here by the time you get on in towards Monday, and that's really going to start in earnest there probably Saturday night and on into Sunday morning. So if you're out and about across the higher terrain, it's kind of chilly out here. It's a chilly trough. Even in the lower elevations, it's not very warm, and especially across the higher terrain, we're dealing with this snowfall amount. So just have that in the back of your head. Now, looking at the European Artificial Intelligence, there goes our system this weekend. Very transient ridge tries to move through before that next system is upon us, and then we deal with the next system going through midweek, and then that troughing kind of hangs out here as we go on in towards the following weekend, and then this trough really wants to get established all the way down the west coast of North America. That would bring some nice chasing here across the plains, so I would be out chasing that, but it would also bring some unsettled weather here across much of the Pacific Northwest. And then after that, ridge tries to build in. Looks like this low gets a bit closed across the Intermountain West, but way off into fantasy forecast land. We won't worry about that too much just yet. Now, taking a look at 15-day precipitation anomaly. Of course, with all that troughing around, you can imagine we are going to be on the higher side of things here with precipitation anomalies. So yeah, check it out. I mean, some areas across Vancouver Island, the Cascades, you're talking about over 2 inches. This again, just the anomaly, what we would normally get from now towards the end of May. So wrap it up the second half of May. It looks like we may be fairly wet. And just total precipitation in inches, just the values. I mean, you're talking almost 3 inches for Seattle, more for Bellingham there, maybe 2 to 3 inches for Portland. So we got to get all that precipitation in here before the end of May. And yeah, you can kind of see that wet pattern here across much of the Pacific Northwest. And we need it because this is since April 1st. Vast majority of the Pacific Northwest has been substantially below normal. You don't like to see that across some of the east slopes of the Cascades, between 5 and 25% of normal for this time of year, and wide swaths between 25 and 50%, including the Seattle Metro, right around 50% or so since April 1st. So this will be beneficial as we move through the second half of May. 6 to 10 day, kind of this mixed bag there, but you can kind of see, I don't know what they're thinking here, because this is May 21st through 25th. This is going to change almost certainly if the models continue to show what they are showing. That below normal signal across some of the Intermountain West. But anyway, yeah, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Otherwise, click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.